Eli here, showing you today how to install a GPU into your mining rig. So here I'm running these 4 GPUs, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this one's running my monitor. This one isn't good enough to mine, but I don't need to replace it yet because I do have an extra slot in here right there, which I will be plugging in my this 5th GPU into my system with. So I have a powered riser here, and I'm going to show you what to plug in where, so that you guys know how to do this. So this is a powered riser kit. It came with they come in static proof bags like this, and then you just open them, and then it comes with these parts here. So to get started plugging them together, you plug in your USB 3.0 cord into the port on here, and then it comes with this cord. This is a SATA cord, it's like SATA 1 or something, and that you'll plug into your power supply unit. But the other end of it here, you plug this into here, just pretty simple, and make sure you hear the snap there or see it, and that it's firmly connected. And now I will plug in this little thing into my motherboard, and this is a PCIe 1X to 16X. So it takes the 1 and it converts it to 16. And yes, it is fine plugging these into a 16 to convert 1X to 16X from 16X. It'll still work just fine for mining. For gaming, you'll want a different solution, but for mining, it's fine. So I'm just going to plug this here into this. This is PCIe X1_1 that I'm plugging it in. The reason I don't have this one used already is because I had a Wi-Fi chip plugged in here, so it already was using those. But you do want to use your like, for example, X1_1 before you use your X1_2. So now that that's plugged in, I've plugged in the other end of this USB cord, and then you just plug this here into the PCIe slot. Make sure it's the right direction. So you just plug that in there, and then the other end of this, I'm going to put this card over here. So the other end of this you need plugged into your power supply unit. Now you have to be careful that you run your powered riser and your GPU from the same power supply unit. So I have an 800 watt power supply and a 650 watt right here that I'm running both of them. And that's because I ran out of slots on this one, but also 800 watts isn't enough to really power 6 cards, which is what my plan is. So here I have a SATA cable. Now you only want to use the first 2 of these if you're running 2 cards. I'm running the other end to run this this extra hard drive here. So I'm just going to plug this into the first one, and that'll be fine. This is a little L-shaped thing. So yeah, and then you just plug that in there, nice and easy. So now I need to plug in the actual card into here. So this just slides back and forth. If your riser looks different, you may not have to slide it back, but this is where the card will go. So let me stick that in. So here's the card. Now you have to make sure you plug in this in the right way. This does not go like that, that's backwards. It goes like this, and you just stick it in there. Make sure it goes all the way. If this doesn't slide, you'll hear a nice snap, just like these over here. These are snap ones that go back and forth. So then you just slide this back to make sure it's in place. So now these fans may not spin automatically when I power it up, or they might. Some cards are set automatically to change their RPM speed based on heat. So now I need to power the actual card. This is something a lot of people forget to do at first, and is pretty important. So you need to plug this end into here, and make sure that does snap again, or if it doesn't snap, just that it's in place. And then these are Molex. There are different ways to power it, such as these on this card these are already connected to the motherboard, or to the power supply, so I don't have to convert them. But on these, I do need to convert them. So this is from my second power supply unit, and I have these extra Molex cables here that are just in a line here. So I'm just going to use the first 2 and plug these into here, and this is a reverse Y power converter. So I just plug that in like that, and make sure these are the same direction. there's really only one way they'll fit together. So I just plug that together as such, and then that will supply power to my graphics card. So to recap, before I turn the thing on, it's always good to make sure you think it through so that you're not going to blow anything up, because you can blow up your computer, your motherboard. It'll spark and pop, and then you'll melt things or start a fire. So my GPU is the powered riser is being powered from my second power supply unit right there through the SATA cable into the powered riser. This is the data cable, USB 3.0, which is running to my motherboard over here, and then into the PCIe 1X_1 slot, and then I'm powering my GPU itself from my second power supply unit also, which I'm converting through Molex into the reverse Y into here with this 6-pin, 6-pin. So let's power it up and see if that works. Another thing to note, both of these power supply units are switched on. In the back they're just already on, because I didn't want to break anything. So I should just have to turn on this, the computer, the chassis, and then we'll see if anything blows up. So here we go. Now if we look here at the GPU, the fans are spinning right now. Sometimes they start spinning, and then if it's cool enough they may just stop, so don't be alarmed if that happens. Now the monitor may take a second to come on, but yeah, all 6 of these are running right now. This small one right here isn't powerful enough to mine with, so I'm going to replace it later eventually, but we're just hoping that I can get my miner up and running, and also this monitor does turn on. Now if you wait a second and your monitor does not turn on, that may be normal. Sometimes the first time you power the computer on with these cards, it doesn't quite work, and sometimes you just need to restart. Especially, so here's the login screen, if you'll come closer. The login screen, so I just log in here. Sometimes the login screen freezes up. If it does, which it didn't, but if it does, don't be alarmed and just do a restart. So you'll just hold down your power button for 5 seconds. But okay, so I gotta make sure the internet is connected here before I can run this miner. So I did load up the miner that is running. Why don't I see if I can stop that? It is a good idea to make sure your cards are plugged in. I may have just froze things by trying to run my miner before being connected to the internet. So why don't I just do a hard reset real quick, since it does look like it froze up, which is pretty normal for the first time. So I'm just going to press this power button once and see if it'll shut down. If not, okay, which it is, and that's safer instead of a hard reset. But if it doesn't turn off, then you just hold it down for 5 seconds. So after this power's off, I'll just turn it back on immediately. I'm just gonna hold this down, and then it'll shut off. You can wait the 12 seconds for the motherboard to lose power, but I find that it's not really necessary for the hard reset. So after this monitor comes on, I will make sure, one, that my computer recognizes the device under Device Manager, and then I will make sure the internet is connected, and then I can run my miner and see. So these 2 GPUs are each running about 400 mega hash with the CC miner fork that I'm running, and then this one is running about 200 mega hash. So I ordered this from a sketchy website from Wish, and it came from Shanghai, so hopefully this will run about 200 mega hash also, because this is a 960. So let me try logging in here real quick to see if my computer recognizes this graphics card. So under settings, I'm going to Device Manager. You just type it in the search bar and press enter, and then go under Display Adapters, and then, so if you see here, there's one 960 being recognized, but there's not the other 960. So is what we need to do. One thing you can do is wait a second. Connecting to the internet might help also, though. So one thing you could do, you can just try keep restarting it and see if that works, but also connecting to the internet and downloading the correct drivers. Also GeForce Experience here, if you load that up, It'll tell you if you have the latest drivers. I'm not running the latest. I'm one update behind. So that's one thing I'll try. And then, yeah, and then after you do get this to recognize it, then you can just load up your miner. And so I'm running a weird, I'm running a dongle to try and connect to the Wi-Fi. So I'll go ahead and set that up and get this to run. But then after that runs, you'll just load up your miner. So here's my miner. Here's the code for it if anyone's interested. So then you'll just start this miner. This is the bat file. So then you just double click to run it, and then it'll start mining. Of course, this won't be connected to the internet, but then you'll be able to see if your graphics card actually does work. But that is the correct setup for the GPU. Is all you need to do now is get your computer to recognize it by doing the update of the drivers, and by under device manager you can do like a refresh. I think I have it open still. You can do a refresh under scan for hardware changes, and then it'll see if it found anything new. Basically also just going through your connections and making sure everything is connected in correctly. And yeah, but that is the correct setup of how to set up a GPU in your mining rig. So thanks for watching.